What's up, metal and heavy music fans? Today we have a review of WILDERUN and their new album Epigone via Century Media Records.
We found a loophole in creation's glow.
Veil of Imagination was one of my favorite albums of 2019, leaving me pretty stoked to hear this fourth outing from the Boston-based progressive metal band. Passenger was a great choice for a lead single, channeling all of the best elements of Opeth in its riffs, vocals, and consistently engaging ups and downs. The first transition from the tranquil acoustic portion into fiery death metal is everything a fan of those albums could have hoped for. And then the pairing of the male and female cleans is truly serene. Identifier continues on in a similar vein, mixing Blackwater Park vibes with WILDERUN's own special sauce.
I make it myself. Huh, you carry your own sauce? Doesn't everybody?
More great attention to detail in the composition and arrangement, with lots of twists and turns tied together nicely by some recurring hooks. I especially love the back and forth and layering of the vocals once more, and also don't sleep on some excellent performances on the bass guitar. But then the big event after the eerie ambience of Ambition, there's the mammoth 4-part Distraction. Part 1 feels like a later career Enslaved song, even drawing some pretty direct parallels to tracks like Death in the Eyes of Dawn, before erupting into a fury of distortion and death growls with a backdrop of strings in its final moments that is jaw-dropping to behold. Part 2 then harnesses this dramatic turn for an arguably even more bombastic, over-the-top intro, leaning hard into the prog elements at this point, and adding backing chorals for good measure. It's like Opeth goes Philharmonic at Carnegie Hall.
Pulling it back again.
Part 3 starts off very understated by comparison, with a sorrow-filled union of soft vocals and minimalist synth chords, building slowly into more layering of strings, a ripping guitar solo, and by the end evolving into a full-on classical piece with the brass and strings taking flight in an epic crescendo worthy of an Equilibrium album. And then conversely, Distraction Nulla sees the band now at this heavenly peak take a sudden nosedive back into the abyss in a chaotic display of spiraling blackened noise. Talk about building a contrast and subverting expectations right to the end. Now, for all of these incredible strengths, Epigone isn't without some notable faults as well. Primarily, this album takes a while to really get going. In fact, I worry that those unfamiliar with the band may give up before they really get into the meat of it. I appreciated the opening track, Exhaler, with its more overtly American folk acoustic and fiddle conjuring comparisons to Panopticon. But then this is followed by the even more soft and understated intro of Wool Gatherer, which feels a bit redundant at this point. Pick an album intro, guys. You only need one.
Call it. Call it, yes. For what? Just call it.
Personally, I think a more concise transition from Exhaler into a more focused and hard-hitting arrangement like Passenger would make for a much more impactful opening. Then you can circle back to stuff like this. It also doesn't help that this track in general feels a bit meandering, enough so that the only thing keeping me going was having heard the lead single and knowing that better material was somewhere over the horizon. But this is certainly a case where patience is rewarded, because after this hump, I love pretty much every moment onward. It just makes for a less complete package overall when compared to Veil of Imagination. Turning to my scales, I give Epigone an 8 for enjoyability. Again, some trimming or even just some reordering to the beginning would easily bump this score up to a 9 or even 10. I give it a 9 for musicianship, no shortcomings in the performances, and overall the composition in particular is incredible. And I give it an 8 for innovation. I'm not sure I feel quite the same level of growth here between albums as I did with the previous two, but the maturation is there nonetheless. So an 8.3 overall and a B for WILDERUN and Epigone. Y'all check out this video for my favorite metal albums of 2021, and this one for the most anticipated albums of 2022. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.